Nothing is more terrifying than surveillance footage of an event, especially one that ends human life. This video footage shows 3 suspects involved in a double life-taking in South Ogden, Utah. Surveillance footage surrounding the scene of the event captured 2 suspects peering through the home's windows and later a masked man fleeing the scene. All 3 suspects were wearing hard plastic masks. According to several news articles documenting the event, police believe the incident was not random, but targeted, and that the suspects were familiar with both the people in their home. South Ogden Police Chief Darren Park noted that while reports of a loud party had been made to police, he asked any witnesses to come forward and said in a statement that he hoped the families of the people will gain some closure. Multiple surveillance cameras caught the suspects scoping out the home. One suspect was wearing a mask, while the 2 others wore opaque plastic masks as they approached. One camera showed a suspect crouched down, watching the home for a while, after which the second suspect and later the third joined in. A second camera caught them peering into the home's windows. Following the event, one of the men was seen on a third camera hopping over a fence. As of the latest update found online, dated March 2019 by ABC4, the double life-taking remains unsolved. More has been pieced together of the night's events, including the fact that 3 of the Van Komen brothers lived in the home, while the unfortunate older neighbor, Kevin Nelson, had just dropped by when the event occurred. Once 2 of the Van Komen brothers left to pick up some food, leaving just one and one other roommate inside, the stranger seized the opportunity to enter. The brothers were gone for no more than 10 minutes, and when they returned, they found Kyle passed away on the floor. Van Komen's mother, Renee Finch, said of the footage, "I think that it's creepy that they're out there watching." Adding later, "We're very thankful we didn't lose all 3 of our boys that night." Nelson's nephew, Ralph Nelson Jr., also said of his uncle that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, a feeling echoed by Finch, who doesn't know why her son might be targeted. There was no clear motive for the double life-taking, which is likely why the trail remains cold today, despite over 70 people being questioned over the past 3 years. Unsolved mysteries are inherently terrifying, and the coldness of this case compounds that fear. If you're going caving, do it at the right time of day. Posted to TikTok by Andrew Smith, this caver found out the hard way that underwater caves have a high tide. As the cave fills with water around him, he has nowhere to go. The water comes rushing at the staircase as the cave continues to fill dramatically. We can assume these cavers made it out alive enough to post this video, but most in the comments say they're goners just watching this. I seriously hope everyone was alright. This elevator video from 2012 was taken late at night at an undisclosed location. The space is completely empty until a woman with long dark hair and a dirty nightgown appears out of nowhere with her head down. She stands in place for less than 10 seconds before the security camera suddenly glitches out and shuts off. 2 months later, the video was leaked to the public and posted online. This leaked video might be fake because it almost looks like a stereotypical Hollywood version of a ghost. Then again, as CCTV cameras continue to improve in quality, it would only make sense for the spirits to show more detail as well. A YouTuber named Frosty Flakes is searching for elk in the woods of Imnaha, Oregon, when his elk whistle attracts a pack of hungry wolves. Soon they find themselves surrounded and have to step carefully. They are way outnumbered and the wolves sound very close by, ferocious and closing in fast.
Wolves are exactly on opposite sides of us.
Every time they stop to gain a sense of direction, they can hear the wolves combing through the area where they just were. And I think this is where the pack decides not to pursue any further and lets them off with a warning howl. They sound close enough to charge the entire time, yet hidden so well in their surroundings that you would never know where to even look until it was already too late. A YouTuber named Grasshopper222 captures an outbreak of paranormal proportions in his house when he goes on a short vacation. A brand new security cam system meant to monitor his housekeeper instead records some of the scariest CCTV moments of his life that makes him come home sooner than normal. This creepy doll is the first of many objects caught moving by itself. Grasshopper222 thinks a ghost moves it, but I think someone could be hiding around the corner with a string, so I wouldn't exactly call this solid paranormal evidence. At 2 minutes, the doll appears to wave hello, so that's weird. Unless that's just where the string is tied, then it's fake. It's too bad he doesn't include video of the other room to show no one is there. Anyway, this barely noticeable glare is a reflection from where the television turns on, either by itself or with a remote control. A cushion is thrown off the couch and another object falls over by itself soon after, both of which could be on strings. But look again at how the water bottle moves, or more specifically how it lands. At 43 seconds, the falling object appears to catch on nothing, almost like a ghost pushed it over and caught it in midair. Meanwhile, in the other room, a ghost opens the door and slams it shut. Then the ghost moves more objects. A cabinet, cup, red box, and other household objects all move on their own. But there's one big problem, something that just doesn't quite add up. The camera angle looks slightly different than before. So unless the housekeeper readjusted the camera, I think this amateur ghost video might not be real after all. Then again, with all of the other creepy stuff flying around, I guess the moving camera is also well within its capabilities. A YouTuber named More Bad Ideas is riding his bike late at night. He normally would never go out at this odd hour, but he just got home from vacation, and he just can't wait until the morning breaks to ride again. It's a decision that he will soon regret. He's popping wheelies down empty streets and old parking lots when he comes across a random golf ball sticking out from a sewer grate. He's amused and throws it around for a bit. It lands in some grass next to something much weirder. A camcorder laying in a wet plastic bag. The camera still has a memory card and some battery life, so he curiously presses play.
Yo, what the f is this? Dude, are you serious right now? Yo, that a knife with blood?
In case you couldn't see the screen clearly, the video shows a woman tied to a chair whimpering. Suddenly, a car puts its high beams on and floors it towards him. He hops on his bike and narrowly gets away. He sees the person chasing him one more time a short while later, and then he barely escapes again. Mohammed bin Naim has caught a flurry of weird things on camera that I think needs to be more closely examined to see if it's paranormal. He chooses to investigate the slamming door in the room ahead instead of the breaking glass downstairs. It looks like a ghost is slamming the door, but look again. Approximately 29 seconds is when you can see him try to grab the door unseen, but unintentionally showing his hand in the process. He is slamming the door himself, I'm 99% sure. This video, while possibly fake, is important to show because I think it could shed light on the other ghost hunting videos like this. The camera person could be reaching out with their hand and slamming the door, but I guess we'll never know for sure. Published by Mindzoga in April of 2013, the uploader writes, while riding in huge forest, accidentally found a secret base. It is completely deserted in one of the spookiest places I have ever been. The uploader was biking across a dirt road through Lithuania when he came across this base. The video shows derelict buildings on either side of the road, having long been abandoned. It's hard to tell who or what the buildings once housed, but there's plenty of them. Soon the bikers entered a more wooded area, where he decides to go off-road with his bike. He comes across a triangular building built into the ground. There's also a deep hole in the concrete, and a concrete slab set to the side with something, possibly a pipe entering the hole. The biker approaches the dark triangular building. Inside, there's only rubble and darkness. He strolls around the area and notes that one of the tree-like hidden underground ventilation chimneys lay on the ground. After driving a bit further, he comes across another of these triangular buildings. Upon closer inspection, the inside of the building is filled with small rooms. In the distance, he hears something that sounds like a bang, which adds to the creepy ambiance of these remains of a facility. He comes across yet another triangular building, where he notices a large ring on the ground, which he believes to be an underground silo cover. This place may have once been the headquarters of a Russian facility, but now it's nothing more than a ghost town of deserted buildings. Which do you think is more eerie? Polar19 posted this video of her beagle in 2008. She wrote, "This is my 6-month-old beagle, Lewis, who started barking and growling at something in the kitchen, mostly focusing on the open cupboard. He has been known to wake up in the middle of the night, barking and growling at something unseen. The YouTuber says that Louise won't calm down until she lets the dog patrol the house. In the video, the dog is barking towards the pantry. He walks further into the kitchen and starts howling. Backing up again, he howls and growls at the pantry. He walks forward again, still howling and sniffing the ground. He just keeps at it, backing up, walking forward, barking, growling and howling until the video ends. YouTube commenters note that the dog's hair is standing on end, and the guttural sounds the dog is making are usually a warning. What could he possibly seen in the darkened pantry that we don't? Whatever it is must be well hidden, as you can hear something growl back at the dog at 45 seconds into the video. So there must be something there. The next time you look into your baby monitor, you might find an unnerving guardian angel. That's what happened to a friend of XXBlazenXX, who posted this clip to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes in the comments, "A friend of mine had recently put her child to bed, and she has gone through every single thought of how to justify this figure, but it looks like a little child walking in and around the crib. By the time log on the baby monitor, you can see it's around 9:40 p.m. and if you look closely, you'll catch a ghost white shadow figure walk around the back of the crib as the baby sleeps on. The figure creeps around one side of the crib before pacing back to the head of the crib and coming slightly around the other side. Then it moves back. At the end of the clip, it appears most visible, leaving its sential spot, probably in order to make itself a sandwich. What was this phantom caretaker doing? Do you think it's a friendly guardian, or does the babysitter have evil intent? Whatever the case, safeguard that baby. It's better to be safe than sorry." An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
Out and about, what dangers might we bump into? Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting. That's one thing. Someone give me another one then.
Strangers?
Strangers.
I'll just move down as well.
Right. What we're going to do, we need to... I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute.
By now, the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. This TikToker has documented her neighbor harassing her for months. The following clips are evidence of the terrifying stalking, posted to TikTok by Maddie Panic. Maddie writes that she lives alone and she's reported this neighbor several times. In the first video, you can see her neighbor through her peephole, waiting outside her apartment door. The video shows a man wearing a hooded sweatshirt, getting very close to the door as though he's listening in. The man's mouth is moving, but what he's saying is inaudible. He quietly knocks on the door. After no one answers, the man backs up and waits there. Later, Maddie captures what we can assume is the same man trying her doorknob. You can see the knob shaking, but the door is locked. Maddie looks out the peephole again, and you can only see the top of the man's head, like he's down low, trying to hide from view, or maybe even trying to use tools to get in. You can vaguely hear him say he knows that she's here. Well, this video is scary enough. A second video turns our fear up a notch. The man apparently lives next door to Maddie, and he tried to smash a hole right through her wall. She captures the damage on video and reassures viewers that cops are on the way. Maddie turned this TikTok account into pure documentation of this stalker's behavior. Her latest video shows she is safe and now in a new apartment. Maddie's advice to other individuals who find themselves in a similar situation is to document everything and protect themselves. This was truly one creepy neighbor. When you want to get away from it all and get back to nature, camping is an ideal way to self-isolate, but sometimes you're not alone. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by WillyComics64, the Redditor writes, I found this guy near my campsite, and I don't know who he is or where he came from. The clip shows a man lurking in the trees near Willie's campsite. He appears and then just as quickly vanishes. While some in the comments don't find this all that odd, as hiking is part of camping, others think it's just a little weird that the stranger didn't introduce himself and just seemed to disappear in an instant. Willie explains in the comments that the situation freaked him out because no one was renting the site next to him, and he didn't see this man at any other campsite or on the trail that loops around the campground. Redditor Laura Malia649 writes, and this is why I fear people when I camp more than the wildlife around me. Others think that the man acted very suspiciously and hoped that the Redditor has something to protect himself with. Redditor FakerHoach10000 suggests that perhaps the man was growing deep in the woods and just came out to look after his plants. Willie can only hope that these assessments are right, because if this man is anything other than a hiker, a camper, or a grower, then who knows what his intentions are. Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's best that certain things remain invisible to the human eye. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex. This video was taken at the haunted Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. Originally posted on YouTube in March of 2020, Tex writes, I have been listening to creepy stories and been watching YouTube videos about ghost investigations and experiences since they existed, which resulted in me paying more attention to my surroundings, heightening my awareness. The Queen Anne Hotel has some history. Located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, initially built as a girls' boarding school, the Queen Anne Hotel is said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Mary Lake. Her office at room 410 is believed to be the most haunted room in the building. The uploader of the video booked this room to stay in overnight. In preparation for the stay, she bought a FLIR thermal cam for her iPhone. She duly notes that the hotel is charming as heck, and she didn't feel anything particularly unsettling while there. That is, until she thermal cammed room 410. She tested out her thermal cam on her husband, on electrical sockets, water lines, and other hot and cold spots. Then she entered the bathroom. Pointing her thermal cam towards the half-closed shower curtain, she started to see a figure in the thermal footage next to her that she believed appeared from behind the curtain. As you can see, there is her own thermal image in its reflection, and not too far away right beside it, another full-sized figure. Could it be headmistress Mary Lake herself? When going through pictures she took of the room, the uploader also discovered this creepy face in the wallpaper. Do you see it? It's almost like the room is watching you. This video was taken from a live stream in someone's car. Two friends are singing a popular song by Adele together and just goofing off one night while aimlessly driving. I can't play the clip with sound because the song is copyrighted, but pay attention to the baby seat in the back. It starts out obviously empty, as you can see here in the beginning. However, sometime during their singing, something slowly materializes behind them. Let me know if you can see a ghost child at this point. By the time they finally notice, you can already vaguely see the baby's mouth and other facial features. They are absolutely stunned and quickly turn off the stream without saying another word. I have no possible explanation for this video, besides maybe the shadows playing tricks on them. Still, that's a strange coincidence that begs for a further investigation. Scary restaurant video was captured in a bar in Singapore late at night. First, a stool falls over, which I guess could just be a string, but their reaction seems realistic as they all question how this could happen. The entire time, none of them realize that they are being watched by the faint outline of a woman who does not move or make a noise. Maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like this woman's feet are off the ground and she is suspended in the air. This video was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Gobs of Goblins. The Redditor wrote, kept hearing a weird inconsistent tapping noise coming from the ceiling. The attic is directly above my room. Caught one of the times it happened on video. Check the attic and nothing's there. Still kinda freaks me out. I can certainly hear what the Redditor is talking about. Check it out. I know the Redditor checked the attic, but I'm thinking something has to be hiding up there. Not everyone is convinced though. Gohan0912 wrote in the comments that they think it's squirrels or birds. So what do you think? Is there a stranger secretly living in this house? Or is the answer really as simple as Gohan thinks it is? A YouTuber named Blake Smith's Gaming Blitz lives alone and often hears wearing sobs in his basement. He says that he is way too strapped for cash to afford a Bluetooth speaker and that this is real. Take a listen for yourself. At 57 seconds into the video, the spirit seems to respond to his voice.
Hello? Hello?
He pokes around the corner, and sitting in the far corner of the room is a tiny entity made of light that kind of resembles a small child. I took a screenshot to better illustrate what I'm saying. The shape looks roughly symmetrical, and the head is looking directly at the camera. A mother is mourning the loss of her child when a single white balloon floats over to her from his casket. Relief washes over her as she soon realizes this is almost definitely a sign of reassurance from her lost loved one. Look again and you'll see not only did this balloon start from her child's casket, it was also in front of a picture of him as well. It really is as if he is sending her a balloon to cheer her up and let her know that he still cares for her from the other side, perhaps even as a final gesture to help her let go. Cindy McDonald is a paranormal communicator who has been into ghost hunting for many years. She has a YouTube channel called Soul Guidance that's full of bizarre explorations in various haunted places, but to be honest, the best paranormal evidence I've seen in a long time are from these videos taken in her very own home. After years of paranormal expeditions, I guess it was only a matter of time before something came back to haunt them. The creepiness begins on November 17th of 2017. That's when her beagle Mozzie begins acting strange. Every little sound bothers her and puts her on high alert. She seems especially wary of the brown chair, or rather the backpack that's on it, which they take with them on every investigation and may have a paranormal entity attached. They tell any spirits haunting this house to leave and eventually the dog calms down. 9 days later, they run a paranormal experiment on their house to see if they can capture any ghost sightings on camera. Their ghost hunting equipment soon tracks a ghost standing on their coffee table, who slowly but surely make its way to the couch. I just want to add that I don't see how their software could be mistaking a bare white wall for anything remotely human. Also, based on the timing of this next clip, I think this creepy moment is both real and paranormal.
Can you say hello? Oh, there's two.
Another wireframe figure appears in the doorway when she tells it to say hello.
Now, just to show, don't you move. This is what we're filming, this area right here, so there's nothing it can map in. It's just mapping in two figures.
They continue to see the same ghost well into the next year, and as the months go by, it becomes more friendly and comfortable around them. Here it is lying on the same couch as before.
Can you wave? Can you stick out one arm? Oh, I think I see you waving that hand. Wave one more time so we know it's you, please. Thank you. Good job.
They seem to have achieved some kind of rare bond between our world and theirs that I've never seen before. Also attached to their family is a little ghost child who is slowly remembering what it was like to be alive.
Would you like to hold my hand? Can you reach over and touch my hand, please? Thank you. Touch my hand. You got it, baby. Don't be afraid. You know I'll never hurt you.
Even when it leaves, there's still a small black impression of paranormal energy left in its wake. It makes sense that the ghost of a child would attach themselves to a backpack, since that's an item they would be familiar with. And not too long ago, they visited a boys' detention center that was quite haunted, so maybe that's where the ghost child followed them home from. While they were exploring that haunted building, however, they encountered a much larger shadow figure that gave them a bad feeling. Hopefully this ghost didn't follow them home too. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cold to be still.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cold to be still.
A TikToker named Jordan Dreyer rides down a rainy road when he and his friend see a lone woman crossing the road. Upon seeing them, she stops and turns their way. Her white robes fluttering in the wind, and considers them as they pass. Her face is gray and ashen, as pale as her clothing, which I guess could be makeup, I guess if this video isn't real. But as they pass, when the video plays frame by frame, one of her eyes seems to glow unnaturally, possibly marking the exact moment when a curse passes between them, and possibly onto anyone who watches this video, including you. I will say that this could be scripted. There are no other cars on the road, but they are traveling at a slow speed, almost as if they knew she was there. But like I said, the weather wasn't good that night, so maybe he's being a safe driver. Another possibility is that something bad had just happened to a real person and she needed their help, in which case whatever she was trying to get away from could have very well caught up with her again after they drove away. While exploring the abandoned Davutlu village, the YouTube crew from Han Kardisler find they're not alone. One woman comes out of the woodwork.
Ay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kulağız Rabbin asmalik nasıl nasıl şerif nasıl basar.
Gelin buraya bakayım.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum biri var yanında.
Gel gel. Gel tanıdım seni gel.
The woman leads them to this strange dark figure hiding behind a corner, but the figure disappears as they approach.
Gelin.
Sen ne yapıyorsun burada ya?
Ne yapacağım ben her yerde geziyorum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum. Ne oluyor ya? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Gel.
It then reappears in the downstairs window. The mysterious figure appears only as a form, a shadow if you will. While the crazy woman tells the crew something, her silent husband stands by with his back to the camera. The figure has again vanished from sight.
Var.
Abi ne oluyor?
Bu benim sevgilim. Gel buraya.
Şaka mı bu?
Bak yakaladım
Baksana şu
onu.
adama baksana kanka. Çok tuhaf çok.
Oğlum bu kafayı yemiş ya.
Gel buraya.
Oh gidiyor.
And then the woman appears to go nuts, shooing them off and even throwing stuff at them.
Artık gidin. Yeter. Hadi. Hadi. Hadi gidin artık.
Abi oy bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Hadi gidin artık.
Ay ay.
Yeter. Peşimden gidin. Gelmeyin artık.
Oh bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Hayır,
adam dışarı çıktı.
artık yeter.
After being chased around, they later see the figure in the window again.
Bayram. Orada duruyoruz. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bayram bu ne böyle ya?
Kafayı yiyeceğim.
Abi.
But it's not any clearer what the figure is. I have no clue what this entity may be, but it seems to me that this old woman might be protecting it from outsiders. I'm not so sure it needs her protection though. Is this phantom nurse here to heal you or to hurt you? Published by Luan Mendez in May of 2020. Luan and his crew are exploring an abandoned hospital whose staff hasn't really left. Wandering the halls, they seem to turn down one hallway where they seem to spot something skulking in the darkness. The thing must have disappeared, so they move on, continuing in their search, and that's when they see her, Nurse Ratchet. They race away as fast as they can, and one of the crew falls unexpectedly to the ground. It almost looks like he was clotheslined by something invisible. The crew manages to make it out of the hospital alive, and that's no thanks to the creepy phantom nurse. Paranormal explorers Mackie and Amanda are investigating two haunted South California estates in this scary video, the Kellogg House and the Mag House. Published in March of 2022, they are in the Kellogg House when something touches Amanda's arm.
Oh, something just touched my arm.
What?
Something just touched my arm.
Really?
Super lightly, but I felt it just go like super light.
A moment later, she says it feels like the whole house is shaking. Later, they're sitting in one of the rooms when they hear someone knocking. Mackie also mentions that she heard someone's voice earlier.
Yeah, I did. I thought I heard someone, and it was like, it sounded like a lady talking out there. Like, that's probably a worker, but I remember Eli said that he's the only one here.
While in the dining room, they hear a beeping noise. It is not coming from one of their paranormal devices. Not long after, they hear footsteps, and then those footsteps sound like they're running right at them.
Anyone's up? No, really, what is that? I don't know. Is someone upstairs?
Later, they're in a child's bedroom when one of their paranormal devices picks up an EVP, and then a second one. They speak to the spirits using a spirit box, who tell them that they're present.
So, yes.
What? Here. Mm-hmm. What room are you in?
Here.
Then, when they leave the room, the music box is triggered again. Is something following them around these haunted estates? What does it want from them?
This is the master bedroom right here. This is where they wanted us to come, so...
It's still going off. Something's following us in here.
Oh, you're right!
Something just, it was you, it went off, and then it was me, it went off, and then there was...
Wreckful is a streamer and YouTuber, and in this video, he is live streaming in the streets of Japan. It's late at night and the streets are almost completely deserted. Wreckful soon notices that he is being followed by a man wearing a surgical mask.
Wait, I'm on follow. I'm gonna flip the camera.
Wreckful begins to look genuinely afraid as he stops himself from panicking. He ultimately decides to run when he turns the corner.
I'm running.
He eventually stops and confronts this potential stalker. It turns out this man is a fan of Reckful and was wanting to scare him as a joke. Reckful is still clearly shaken up from the incident while talking to his follower and his friend. Well, it turns out Reckful was in no danger. The confusion of being followed by a stranger is certainly frightening. A YouTuber in India named Ghost Live Raja has caught on livestream what he claims is real paranormal evidence while exploring an abandoned building known only as the Ghost House. He burns a candle to invoke the spirit world, and soon some pretty creepy moments are caught on livestream that he hasn't been able to explain. The sound is coming from the other side of the blue door, but when they open it, nothing but forest overgrowth is on the other side, or at least that's what I thought until I saw what appears to be a figure, half concealed, looking right at them at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, there for a moment and then mysteriously gone.
உங்களுக்கு தில் இருந்தா வந்து என்ன அடிக்க முடியுமா? எங்க ரெண்டு பேர்த்துல ஆரோ ஒருத்தர் அடி பார்க்கல வந்து. அவ்வளவு தில் இருந்துச்சுனா.
This still image taken at that same time better illustrates what I mean. A strange figure with a black hood covering a bony, smirking face. Outside, he finds this strange triangular formation that he calls a ghost warning. I think he might be talking about witchcraft, but I'm not sure what he means, so fill me in if you know more. He also comes across this pile of raised earth and rubble with a cross planted at the top. Something tells me this is the source of the activity. Whatever or whoever is buried under this rock pile is probably responsible for haunting the house. Is that a hula hoop? Posted to TikTok by Camilo Rodriguez, a dark ring looks like it's burnt into the sky above. The mysterious video was captured in Colombia on March 6, 2022. After searching for some explanation, I couldn't find any for this specific ring, but I have found that it's not unique. One appeared over Pakistan in 2020 and is thought to have been caused by a small combustion blast through a circular structure. Again, one in Britain in 2014. This was traced back to a fireworks test. And finally, over Chicago in 2012, this one traced to the rupture of an electrical transformer. So while this may look like an ominous vortex to misery, I guess it's actually an ominous vortex of mystery. This TikToker has a haunted kitchen with 2 moving utensils. First, this spoon handle moves towards him, and there's no string visible against the dark wooden cabinets when it happens. All he can do is laugh in amazement as the spoon moves towards him. The handle even hovering in midair for a bit again with no strings attached.
Ghosts are funny until they start coming to your house. Show you guys that I have a freaking poltergeist.
I'm almost positive this video can't be real, but at the same time, I don't see how it's being faked. Give me your best guess as to how he made both of these utensils move without any string. The story of Sally in the Wood goes something like this. Located outside Bath in Somerset, there's a road that passes into the woodland of Brown's Folly, which locals refuse to drive down after dark due to the terrifying legend surrounding it, known by locals as Sally in the Wood. It is said that no birds can be heard chirping through this stretch of the forest, as a girl has her life taken there and now haunts the place. Some say they've heard a screaming child in the dark forest, and some have seen a full-bodied apparition of a girl racing into the road at night. The legends are all over the place about Sally in the Woods. According to some, Sally was an 18th century gypsy girl who was held captive in a tower, where she perished. The website Wiltshire Paranormal claims that this story is entirely fictional and that the name Sally in the Woods more likely came from a battle that occurred at Brown's Folly in 1643. As Sally is slang for skirmish, this could very well be true. However, the Bathford Society claims that Sally was an actual person, but not the only one who passed away in a tower. This legend claims that Sally was a witch living in a hut in the woods. Local records put Sally's passing at the age of 100, although that wouldn't really explain her appearance as a young girl ghost, unless Sally the witch had the ability to appear youthful. Regardless of what you choose to believe, the generational legend of Sally in the Woods lives on, and the resulting fear can be felt throughout this video, published to YouTube by the abandoned prepper in March of 2020, examining various parts of the house up close. The abandoned prepper wanders through this haunted place solo. Some parts of the house appear deeply aged, while others recall the more recent past. There's an old piano, a strange lock on the door, and an old photo box in the basement that appears as though they're from another century, but other parts of the home look as though they're from the 60s or 70s. Prepper says that he can hear water running and regularly hears strange noises. Shortly after entering, there's a definite sound of glasses clinking about upstairs while he is downstairs.
My days, this is massive. I'm getting a bit scared now. Hello?
Prepper calls out to alert anyone else exploring the house to his presence. He also said the house has recently become a hotspot for urban explorers. He returns to the first floor and then upstairs to the second. He keeps hearing strange noises throughout. Birds are chirping and the sound of running water.
What? Someone's flooding the basement.
He compares the house to Amityville and says it definitely gives him bad vibes. While he explores the adjacent house, at one point he enters a room. Notice there's no blue ball here. He heads upstairs and there's a loud sound of something wooden slamming or falling down. When he returns to that same room later, there's a blue ball in the middle of it. The call is coming from inside the house. He also finally discovers where the sound of running water was coming from. The basement of the house is being flooded. There's a hose passing down there, so it looks like it was done intentionally. As he's getting ready to head out of the home, he turns the corner to descend the stairs. That's when you hear the strike of a piano key.
Off. Hello?
While at the same time the hallway light bulb is swinging back and forth, he races down to catch whoever struck the cord, but there's no one. Finally outside, he turns back to look at the dark shell of a house. You can literally feel the creepiness shed away from you. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright. A hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. The Crazy Red Show uploaded an odd sky sighting over the Hawaiian island of Maui that I think needs more coverage and further analysis.
I'm filming that, bruh. I'm telling you, bruh, they're right there. Holy
Lights in the sky have assembled into a strange formation that does not get closer or farther away, simply hovers without a sound. Looking back, the Crazy Red Show says he still has no idea what these lights were, describing the unexplained event as a surreal moment that, if he had to guess, might be a triangulating satellite system being launched. I admit I don't have much of an idea of what a satellite system looks like, but I would assume getting launched involves movement of some kind. Like I said, these unexplained lights in the sky seem stationary and make for a strange sighting caught on tape indeed. Tell me if you think this is something made by us, because a lot of people think this could be video evidence of visitors from someplace far beyond our world. I personally think it could be flares from a government drill, but it's too hard to say. When you're an urban explorer planning to explore an abandoned building, be prepared to find it occupied. All Around Lifestyle published this video in December of 2015. Mike wrote, "Me and a mate went exploring in a grain elevator, which is located in Poland in a city called Warklaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices. This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them, rubble on the ground, but in the far room, the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place." A YouTuber named Lou Rock is live streaming from a supposedly haunted location, known only as the Yellow House. He and his friend are cautiously poking around the abandoned building when a faint noise sends them running directly into a large room to investigate. The room is bare except for an inordinate number of gnarled clothes hangers in the closet, which begin twisting in unison, almost as if in acknowledgement of their presence.
There's not a window open in here.
Are they moving? It looks like they're moving.
Wow.
This is on live stream, so you can see for yourself at no point did they touch the hangers. I think the hangers really are being moved by an unseen force based on what I'm about to show you next. As you can see from this video, there is no wind moving the blinds or curtains at all, so it couldn't have been a draft moving the hangers. They continue to find more weird miscellaneous objects scattered around the house, including a rope tied to a ripped kid's shoe.
It looks like somebody was hung up by their feet.
Giant holes have been punched into the wall of this room, either from destructive teens or from the previous house owner during an aggressive fit of rage. Just as they are sensing something deeply wrong with the kitchen, something brings them back into the room with blown out walls.
Yeah, me too.
What's that?
They are genuinely creeped out by now and don't make it much further before the sound returns again.
Weird. Alright, we're out of here.
At this point, Lou Rock wisely decides to leave before he becomes the Yellow House's next permanent resident. What would you do if you heard intense screaming from an abandoned building? Post it to the Sir Spook subreddit. This video was filmed in an abandoned office. The clip shows the person filming climb up some stairs in a dark, very buggy building. Some eerie screaming and whistling is heard from somewhere beyond. As he continues through the building, entering another room, the agonizing screaming gets louder. He walks closer and closer to another room, but seems to have finally met something that scared him enough to flee, although I'm not sure why those screams weren't enough to begin with. Many in the comments agree that the screaming would have sent him running for the hills. Some even suggest that the Redditor should have called the authorities, as it sounds like someone was in distress. As Britton on Reddit noted, why were you going further? Redditor SRGB Ski remarks that it sounds like someone was being jumped and the filmer walked in on it. Any way you slice it, that sound certainly stays with you. If you plan to ghost hunt in a haunted forest, prepare to meet your doom. YouTuber Kelsey Davies and her crew encountered several paranormal events in their forest ghost hunt. First, she hears a woman's voice.
I just heard a woman humming.
That sounds more like a shout than a hum to me. Apparently Kelsey saw her too.
She was crouched down by the creek, humming, with no shoes on.
As they approach the creek in question, Susie feels like she was pushed.
You guys don't push me. I didn't. What? Someone pushed you? Stop. So where's it? I swear. Don't push me. It was him.
He's staying right here.
Did someone push Susie? Push you? Don't push me.
When asked if somebody tried to push Susie into the water, the spirits have an answer for Kelsey.
I heard yes, and then it said we are coming. We are.
Are you guys coming?
While they continue to speak through the spirit box, one of them hears the name Susie.
Why?
I heard Susie. I swear to I heard
really?
Susie.
Oh, is it? Yep. Jesus.
It seems this spirit is out to get Susie.
Right behind you. Whoever, I can't even speak right now.
Oh, that's it. I'm here.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm here.
It literally said I'm here.
That's it. I'm...
The spirits repeat their intentions.
What?
That was we're all coming. That literally said we're all coming.
That was not like a regular voice. That was like a demonic voice.
That was really bad.
And their thirst for Susie doesn't end there.
Oh my! Susie!
Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah. I heard that's my second time.
Why do they want me so bad?
I think this is a valid question. Why are the spirits coming after Susie? And did the ghost woman by the creek try and push Susie into the water? If I were her, I'd take this as a sign to get the heck out of there. Empty roads at night can be quite sinister, especially when this happens. Posted to TikTok, Leslie Alexis writes that she and her sister went out to get ices at 2:30 in the morning. When they arrived at the first stoplight on the way out of their neighborhood, it was green, but the white truck waiting at the light didn't budge. The pair beeped, but it still didn't move. They eventually went around. They went and got their ices and returned home. On their way back, the car was still sitting at the light. They passed it, pulled a U-turn, and drove by again, trying to see if there was anyone inside, but the windows were too tinted. Some in the comments were worried the driver might have had a medical emergency. Others think that they just fell asleep or passed out at the wheel. In part 2 of the video series, Leslie explains that they returned home and told their mom, and she drove them back to the stoplight. Once there, the car was gone. It was 3 a.m. Coincidence? Maybe, but it makes you wonder what exactly happened here. Enrique Ortiz published this video in February of 2015, writing, "I filmed this a few years ago when I was walking across Central Park. One evening, just west of the Bethesda Fountain, on the 72nd Street Crossway, I heard really loud screeching coming from the sewer, and I decided to film it with my phone. In the background, you can hear joggers running past Ortiz, and although he doesn't know what the sound could be, he notes that it was quite vicious and loud." The high-pitched screeching coming from the grate sounds a bit like a pig squealing. It certainly doesn't sound like alligators, as suggested in the video title. The screeching is prolonged and agonizing, leading many in the comments section to agree that it's definitely a sewer fight of some kind. Some thought it might be a fox, raccoon, or possum. My guess would be a rat duel. What do you think? The Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Kentucky has been condemned since the early 60s, though the spirits of its former inhabitants are thought to still roam its rubble-filled halls. Lindsay Rogers leads a ghost hunting team through the dark asylum, and it isn't long before they are engulfed by paranormal activity.
What the?
It sounds like a door opens, and you can see Lindsay looks right, but the door is still shut. There's a second banging noise that almost sounds like a body hitting the ground. Though without more video footage, we'll never know for sure. This convincingly real ghost sighting was caught on a Ring doorbell camera, tilted at an interesting perspective that shows us more than most other scary doorbell cam videos ever do. The mysterious figure appears from nothingness, which is scary enough, but what makes one of the creepiest things ever caught in the history of doorbell cameras is how the apparition continues to walk down the street for 37 seconds before disappearing again. Feel free to prove me wrong, but this could actually be a real ghost sighting caught on camera. Freaky, right? Something's cooking in this kitchen. Published by Sasha 180683 in December of 2012. A poltergeist is startling this haunted resident. As the resident enters, a curtain that's hung in front of a washer and dryer keeps fluttering. Then a cupboard pushes open on its own, one of its doors thudding against the stove. The door swings closed and open, moving uncannily. The curtain again moves strangely around, and then back to the cupboard door. The cameraman slowly backs out of the room and then moves forward again, getting a closer look at the cupboard door and the curtain. No strings and the window isn't open. He shows the camera that it's 2 a.m. After closing the cupboard again, the door swings open, and the curtain plays around a bit more. What invisible energy powers this kitchen? A poltergeist would be my guess. Worms aren't only found in insects. They can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, "That thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, LOL. What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous." The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned: clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned: YouTuber Lomar Mendez was locked in this terrifying poltergeist pillar with his partner, and they were not alone. As they ascend the stairs, they hear an unexplained sound.
What did you hear?
It kind of sounded like a groan.
Really?
To me, it sounds like a whale. Then they hear a child.
I swear to just heard a child.
A child?
Yeah. A kid. A kid just literally like, bah! I'm not even joking, like just now.
While I didn't hear the child, the sound could have been muted by the team's ascent. The echoing of the tower makes things difficult to distinguish, but I definitely heard this next sound.
Can you appear to us?
You heard that? Yeah.
I was like walking on one of these
But the creepiest part is yet to come. Listen closely.
Hello?
It's difficult to tell where the screams are coming from. Are they outside or within the tower? Nothing is clear, but in my opinion, there is definitely something unnerving about this place. And if they are indeed communing with the child ghost, then it sounds like he is in agony and needs their help. State-run buses that run through Hamashal Road, Transport Corporation or HRTC are known to have some of the most treacherous bus routes in the world. Unpaved, muddy, and wet roads are just the beginning. There's also the landscape, mountainous and threatening. Here's just one of those routes, captured on camera. On the route Manali to Kannur, the ride is slow going as the roads are wobbly trenches in the mud. In this video, you see a train of buses precariously rocking back and forth as they meander alongside tall piles of snow, rugged mountains towering in the background. The large buses don't look so much like they're driving, rather they look like they're hopping. The cravats in the muddy road are assumingly frozen over, resulting in a jackhammer of a ride. And while the cliff edge on the right hand side of the buses don't appear to be a clear drop off, it's safe to say that one small overcorrection in the mud could potentially send a bus rolling down the mountain. I'm going to play it safe and steer clear of those routes. Sometimes paranormal clips will make you doubt, other times they'll make you believe. This one belongs in the latter category. A Paranormal Journey published this spine-tingling footage in February of 2019, stating that after returning from a break in their investigation, they captured this. In entering a dark room that looks a bit like an attic, the cameraman walks a few steps before muttering and stumbling. What did he see? A close-up shows a slow-moving, full-bodied apparition glide past in the back of the room. The uploader states that seconds after capturing this clip, they heard running footsteps and a loud bang.
Someone running. Jesus. Hello?
They claim the building was locked and the only ones there were the two of them. They shout hello, but no one answers. Those in the comments agree that they should have tracked whatever it was down, human or apparition. YouTuber Kevin Salter wrote, "I usually sit on the fence when it comes to stuff like this, but after seeing this footage this morning, it gave me the shivers. Great footage." What do you think? Is this figure a squatter or a ghost? Mustafa Sven is one of the very few brave paranormal exploration channels from Iraq, and he is definitely one of the best. Let's check out a 24-hour challenge he took at a scary haunted abandoned house that he's always been afraid to go exploring. It isn't long until paranormal entities come wailing for him, and all of the creepiness is caught on video with 2 different cameras. It starts with little things that are quite weird, like a shadow moving strangely in the hall behind him. I mean, yeah, I guess it could just be his hand, but the shadow doesn't exactly follow his movements, and I don't know, the angles just don't match up. Then, shortly after the spooky shadow passes by, more weird things are caught on camera. The backpack is actually very well balanced and should not tip over, and it bothers him that it does. He tries to recreate the situation and cannot. Scary noises aside, the backpack is far from the only object caught on camera moving by itself on this haunted night. A stone silently dislodges from the mantelpiece and crashes to the ground, followed by another one. The poltergeist is pulling this house apart brick by brick, willing to do whatever it takes to scare this ghost hunter away. A padlock bounces on its own like a ghost is trying to open the door. Watch closely and tell me if you think this is a poltergeist or someone on the other end of the door poking through the crack with a stick. But just when I was beginning to think this video might not be paranormal, it becomes one of the creepiest videos I've seen in a long time. A rising wave of spirits closing in makes him realize this 24-hour challenge needs to be cut about 20 hours short, and so he finally leaves. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, "Couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened, apart from one brightly lit window on the second floor. There stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment, likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him." Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. Well, that may be so. You could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Havoc Nova, this Redditor wrote, "Walked into my office to start my workday and found this, and I can see exactly what he's talking about. Something is up with that cool Scarface poster. It's like an invisible hand is rocking the poster back and forth. Even when the Redditor tries to steady the poster, it continues to move. While some people like myself are first jumping to this office being haunted, not everyone is convinced." Laundry Ghosty wrote in the comments, "You need insulation in your walls. There's a small hole allowing a breezeway from the exterior wall to form. This phenomenon happened in our current house. It turned out it's because the insulation that was blown into the walls 30 years ago needed repairs and replacing. So what do you think? Is this office actually haunted? Or are these walls just in need of some more insulation?"
Who's doing this?
In yet another CCTV video, a ghost possesses a woman at a store in China. In the video, you see a package fall on its own accord from the third shelf. It could have just been stuff there, teetering on the edge, causing it to fall at the slightest breeze. Although it doesn't appear to be teetering, that's certainly a possibility. But what's strange is it appears to move for a moment before actually taking the leap, leading a skeptical onlooker to consider that it may also be something paranormal. What happens next will make you think the same thing. A female shopper, surprised by the sound of the package falling, turns to look. Being considerate, she walks back, picks up the package, looks at it, and sets it back on the third shelf. The shopper drops the other package she's holding as the possession seems to take complete control over her body. With one hand on the package, her head flings back and falls forward, back and forward, as if in seizure. She manages to pry her hand from the packaging and turns her back towards it, but her body and mind are fully possessed. The demon takes control of her until another female shopper alerts staffers for help. They are seen gathered around her, trying to subdue her, but she won't be subdued. Her body seizes suddenly again, and the camera even seizes for a moment, as the three surrounding the woman are launched back by the demon's energy. We don't know what happened to the woman, whether the demon fled her body at this moment, or if it still possesses her today. Imagine glancing at the security camera footage outside your home and catching this, published by blah blah in December of 2021. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. It was apparently posted on Instagram originally, captured around midnight in August of 2021. Security footage shows a few cars parked outside in a wooded area. The freaky part is the gangly figure contorting itself in the driveway. The figure walks backward and then forward very strangely, its back hunched over and long limbs swinging. The bony figure then flips his hair back and walks toward the camera, arms outstretched. He then turns around looking up toward the sky. It's not clear what he sees there. Maybe he's waiting. Is this a particularly gaunt human having a laugh? Or is this something extra, waiting for the mothership? Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee, with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation. This entry is a poltergeist 3-parter. The first clip was published by Adam in November of 2021. It shows a cabinet with a mind of its own. One of the drawers opens repeatedly, slamming closed each time. Next, an object falls from above, knocking a picture frame and another object to the floor. But these poltergeists are just getting started. In the second clip, published in October of 2021 by Weird and the Bizarro News, a soda can on the counter moves ever so slightly. It later slides across the counter and twirls all the way down. Then it begins to jump up and down. Another creepy clip shows a computer lab with a couple of office chairs acting on their own. They wheel around the lab, twirling and then really launching across the floor. If these clips weren't caught on camera, would you believe they happened? This video evidence seems to prove that no matter how much we think we know, we do not know everything. A YouTuber named Bloodzack12 is investigating a forest that's supposedly haunted. He and his friends don't see anything for a long time until they come across some weird discarded opera mask laying on top of an old dirty clothes pile. A short distance away, they find another opera mask hanging up in the trees. They decide to take this one home and study it for clues. They are talking about what to do next when Bloodzack12 notices something hunched over in front of them. Someone dressed in all black looks up at them from the thickets and then gives a short chase. I have a hard time believing this video is real because of the movie-like sound effects and timing, but I guess it is possible. Let me know if you think they were genuinely being chased by some maniac lurking in the woods, or if the third person was just a friend. A YouTuber named Jamie Sinclair is hanging out with her friend and her dog when she records some weird things.
What the?
She looks up to see a swing set is moving on its own. As she gets closer, we can notice some things that make this unexplained video even more mysterious. Okay, so the obvious answer is that it's the wind, right? Wrong. Look at this rope next to it, stationary. Are you meaning to tell me that the wind is strong enough to push this swing but not move this rope? I don't think so. Footprints are all around the swing, so I'm not acting like her friend couldn't have pushed it and then acted surprised, but the point is there's no way to tell for sure, and even the smallest chance of paranormal activity is still creepy to think about. When you've got a place called the Dungeon in a state lockup, you're bound to run into some chills down your spine. It was taken on a ghost tour of the Missouri State Penitentiary in 2017. The first shot in the video reads, "Picture taken of the showers minutes before entering the dungeon. Notice the light at the top is clearly off. Let's take a look." Folks in the video appear to be trying to contact spirits within the building, asking if they exist. According to the video, they've received responses, although it's hard to detect the hisses, moans, and spoken word responses in the clip's audio. The video also claims that the light at the top before entering the dungeon was off, while the light turned on after leaving the dungeon. Curious, or did someone just hit the switch? Whatever the case, the paranormal seemed to be at large in Missouri State. It's probably time to plan a prison break. While investigating this demon house, YouTube team KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas encounters a real-life demon. In the wilderness, they start to get a wild EMF reading. Then they break out a thermal camera and capture this.
Grace, cuidado, Grace.
Oh! Amor, ninguém tá assustando nós aí, eu não tô.
And they later captured the devil in their spirit box session.
O diabo. Falou certo? Mano. Pedro, fica esperto, Pedro.
They also take a photo in which something spooky is captured. These are just the grounds of the demon house. I feel that there's definitely something haunting this property, but we'll have to tune into the final episode of the series to find out. Not everybody in India is a believer of the spirit world. Varun Kati seeks to dispel the legends behind the most haunted places in his home country. One such debunking video of him exploring some spooky abandoned buildings in the woods left him scared, but still somewhat skeptical. He goes exploring the abandoned buildings one by one, whistling and taunting for any spirits to make themselves known. Less than 30 seconds later, he gets a reminder as to why provoking the paranormal is a recipe for scary things in the woods caught on camera.
Did you hear that?
A loud moan rings across the treetops, a scary noise from the woods that even Varun has to admit is strange enough to give pause. He gets a really bad feeling that says it wasn't paranormal, just afraid of a wild animal or something, and he gets out of there quickly. I think this brave explorer might be unwilling to admit that he just caught strange and scary evidence of paranormal EVPs caught on tape. He says this could be a monkey, but let me know if you agree. Here's another listen. It sounds like a ghost haunting the woods to me. Either way, ghost or animal, both possibilities sound terrifying. A live ceremony in France starts out normal enough until 7 minutes and 11 seconds when an object moves on its own like a ghost is about to throw it. The object levitates until the clergyman puts his hands down, at which point it stops. This happened on live TV in front of thousands, so someone tell me how it could be fake. Stranger still, a man in the audience claims to have seen a supernatural apparition in the dark doorway, a ghostly figure with a white face and hair who watches the ceremony from afar. The full version of this video has never been put online, to my knowledge, but this picture apparently shows the figure. I think there is a good chance that it is Photoshop, but it looks creepy and is worth mentioning. So if anyone out there is good with Photoshop, then let me know if this is a real picture, or if this scary face was edited. A YouTube channel called Dark Haunts Videos travels to the famous haunted train tracks in San Antonio, Texas, where a school bus full of children were said to have lost their lives. The road looks like it's on a small hill here, according to him. Do you agree?
Okay. But it looks like it's uphill. Cars are neutral and off. We are slowly moving.
If the local legend is true, ghost children are pushing them up a road and straight past the very same tracks that they themselves were not able to cross over alive. Somebody needs to measure this road to see if they are really being pushed uphill. If they are, then this is amazing. It is really creepy though how the car stops all by itself within seconds of going over the tracks. Did you know that man has explored more of Mars and the moon than we've explored the depths of our own oceans? Which leads us to some of the strangest oddities on Earth, including this one, the giant's pyrosome, looking like a large transparent tube slide. A giant's pyrosome is comprised of thousands of identical clones of zooids that form an up to 60-foot hollow cylinder that can be wide enough for a grown man to fit inside. The free-floating tube appears like a ghostly discarded piece of see-through fabric known as sea pickles. Giant pyrosomes are bioluminescent, which means you can see them glowing blue-green in the sea at night. Published to YouTube by Ross Overstreet in June of 2018 and supplemented by footage from Luis Bringas in December of 2014. This giant pyrosome off the southern coast of San Clemente Island will send you off the deep end. These videos show the creature in action, or rather inaction, as it floats unobtrusively near the seafloor. What would you do if you crossed paths with this oceanic nightmare? Would you be brave enough to swim through? And more importantly, would you make it to the other side? Stalking should never be taken lightly, as is made clear by this next video, published by Terry TV in December of 2020. A streamer named Ellie Gatto, dressed in costume, is walking through the streets of a Japanese city at night. Fun, right? Well, it was until this guy showed up. The stalker, captured on camera, is not even trying to hide his intent, walking alongside the streamer with a sword known as a katana. He smiles as Ellie Gatto laughs uncomfortably.
Why is this my following us? Why is he following us? Let's go this way. Oh god.
When she and her friend double around to try and lose him, the man follows. Ellie Gatto says they should go find her friend's husband. As she continues to try and lose the man, her laughter turns to real fear and concern. She even starts running as she attempts to call someone on the phone. She is brought to tears as the man gives chase. Fear Tales explains that a bystander noticed what was going on and pointed the girls to a hospital for protection.
This guy has noticed. Can I help us go to police?
He is seen in the video running alongside Ellie Gatto and serving as a witness to the man's predatory behavior. Later, the stalker is seen being led by authorities into a station. Although this scenario seemingly started as a joke, it quickly took a terrifying turn. Thankfully, this bystander didn't just stand by. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.